Digitalization offers a variety of opportunities for female empowerment and for a more equal female participation. Women with digital skills are better able to make their voices heard on local issues and influence the outcome of decisions that affect themselves and communities. VYK Kendra, in collaboration with Department of Social Work, University of Delhi, organized this webinar to motivate and encourage women and young girls towards adapting the digital future.
We all have gathered here to change this sadistic scenario of women. We are definitely experiencing this change, and that is why I welcome you all to this first collaboration between VYK and Delhi School of Social Work. And I am really honored that I'm associated with both the institutions. My name is Navdeep Kaur, and I'm a Master's in Social Work student at the Delhi School of Social Work. And I'm currently interning with VYK Kendra as my fieldwork curriculum. And I'm really, really honored to Professor Pamela Singla, HOD Delhi School of Social Work, and Mr. Uday Shankar, who is the Chief Controller at VYK Kendra, for giving me this opportunity to work with VYK on this project of digitally empowered women, need of the hour, the webinar for which we've gathered here today.
The World Health Organization partnered with social media platform TikTok to run an awareness campaign around COVID-19, which is being used by frontline workers to share information and experiences. Interactive voice response systems are being used for mass messaging and sensitization of communities in rural areas. Telemedicine has prevented a complete shutdown of healthcare by facilitating connections and consultations with healthcare providers, even through basic phones, against restrictions to physical mobility. Emerging evidence around the use of robots and drones to deliver essential food and medical supplies for quarantined affected areas and disinfect health facilities and contaminated zones, as well as ensure availability of contraception and abortion products to women, are a testimony to the pace at which technology has been mobilized to respond to health needs during this pandemic. Online platforms can prove to be a potent tool to bust myths about sexual and reproductive health and rights, enabling women to proactively manage their health needs and get verified information. Applying digitally savvy and a strong understanding of consumer behavior at scale, digitization can also help users exercise greater choice, agency, and intent along their health journey. Models like e-pharmacy and digital consultations provide the anonymity and safety that women seek while accessing credible and consistent information on sexual and reproductive choices without the fear of judgment. However, in India, in today's day and time, these digital resources do not fully address the needs of women because young people are not meaningfully engaged in designing and implementation, and hence there's a need to make digital space not just safe and accessible, but also inclusive and sensitive. Governments, civil society, content and app developers, and donors need to center girls and women in all planning and implementation efforts, where women themselves are forging solutions to shared global challenges such as climate change, poverty, conflict, persistent gender inequality, as well as their sexual and reproductive health and rights. Now is the time to share power, advance progress, and drive change together, and this can be achieved through accurate and comprehensive sexual and reproductive health and rights information online, through strengthening connections between online sexual and reproductive health and rights information and youth-friendly medical and community services, through creating meaningful opportunities for young people to design, test, and implement digital SRHR programs and platforms, through implementing digital literacy education in and out of schools and colleges, so that adolescent girls and young women feel confident in identifying reputable sources of SRHR information privately, and increased investment in gender equality, including the support of comprehensive sexuality education, which can foster for an environment where all people can learn about their sexual and reproductive health and rights and access services. In conclusion, I would like to say that it is critical to create a vocabulary that recognizes that SRHR needs are essential, and to engage with and critically examine how technology can be evoked to support these while promoting ethics, equity, and rights. The pandemic has had multidimensional effect that reinforce and remind us of the sobering effect from illness, health, agency, employment, education, societal growth, and well-being. Urging the SRHR movements to move the discourse beyond my body, my voice, to our bodies, our voices. young and motivated youth like the people attending this webinar today, who understand risk, imbibe principles of safety, and are skilled and empowered, can contribute to much needed reconstruction and reform we are looking for in the digital space. It is time we understand the safety and freedom in making choices, and responsive programs and services to address the SRHR needs of women are equally essential in building our capacities and autonomy, and in galvanizing our trust and enthusiasm to work towards collective well-being and futures.
As we work on domestic violence, we saw people, women facing domestic violence across the country, started tagging us a lot of times on Twitter, on Facebook, reaching out to us on different other social media platforms, where it was quite alarming for us, because the kind of we do get like such cases, but during lockdown it just spiked, and we realize why women are using these platforms, because it's silent. You can type and reach out to somebody directly. You don't need to make a phone call, because a lot of times it was not possible for a woman to make a phone call and reach out to a police, but a lot of times they tweeted and tagged police, because it was a silent way of reaching out to the institutions. So if to me, if I talk about like women empowerment and digital empowerment, to me it again lies with the two chunks of it. One is the access of it, and again where is the control of it. And when we are talking about again digital media literacy, we need to understand that digital media is not only social media platforms. Second part of it, this is more of like I was talking about like the institutional challenges or institutional problem that a woman can face. Then comes to the misogyny part. Like everywhere, internet is also a public place. So it's not something, it's just maybe the nature of the space is different, and also it's anonymous, so it gives you more courage to go and bully and abuse somebody, because you know that there is lesser chance of such consequences, and people might not identify who you are if you're doing it from a fake profile. So definitely that gives you some kind of an impunity. But in breakthrough, or like as who we are working on feminist spaces and internet and talking about gender, we see online violence as a public place violence. And we do feel that the approach of addressing these kind of violence, like in public places violence, is shift from this whole cyber crime mode to more of like a understanding violence against women in online, and in larger misogyny culture. Because if you talk about only crime, if you try to identify, most of the time it will not be considered or identified as a crime. So if we look at the present structure, legal structure, we see that we have like couple of acts like IPC or like IT Act, and most of the time these behavioral issues like bullying or like abusing do not qualify as those are under those sections. It's important that we actually look at all these things together, and do not see online violence something separately, because it's just a space, but it talks, it's the manifestation of a larger misogyny or larger violence picture. And we have seen that how it helped, it empowered more women. We have seen Me Too, how when people started talking about their sexual harassment, we saw our timeline was flooded by Me Too, that and it shared it is also a place for shared experiences. Like the stigma I have faced for periods, I can share with Navdeep, saying that we have shared the same stigma, and it strengthened the entire cause. It also talks about like how we do see like OTT platforms also, there's so many women-led stories where women are writing stories, directing stories, and talking about women issues, which we did not see 10 years back. 10 years back, I was working, and I did not see we are discussing menstruation so openly. It took us time, and also it gave space to a lot of us, and also people with intersectional identities, like you see like so many Dalit voices coming up, so many Adivasis voices coming up, which we had no idea about. We were kind of subscribing to one kind of narrative. So yes, indeed, it's a very, very important space. But again, it's important to know the space better, to one be on the space, to promote the goodness of the space, and to resist the badness of the space.
So women's access to mobile phone, also when we talk about this access to mobile phones and mobile services, are very crucial first step, that as we heard earlier also, that how it is very beneficial to address the digital gender divide. Across low and middle income countries, women are less likely than the men to own and use the mobile phones. As we saw that the ratio, that only 54% are able to use if they are having 82%, then only 54% use their mobile. Either their husband or their brothers or their parents, they use the mobile, they have the mobile, they get whenever it is required. So they are not having the full access to those. So it is those marginalized women who are without access to the mobile and all to its services who would benefit from the using one. Equipping women with the mobiles, bringing them online, enabling them to success wealth of information and services can also have a positive impact on their families, communities, and help to achieve many of the SDG goals. That SDG, what we are talking about in the gender equality and other things. And driving digital inclusion goes beyond the provision of the network coverage, with the accessibility and affordability also is a key barriers that we can understand, that when you go to the rural areas, either they have the phone, then there is no network coverage. They have the gadgets, but they are not able to have the electricity to recharge it. So these are the many barriers that we can see. We have to address those as well, because we are living in a country which is developing countries full, that we are digital India, but we still, when we cross out of NCR or somewhere in the other states, you can realize that how your mobile 4G network converts to the 2G or edge. So these are the things that we can understand how the things will happen. A lack of digital skills and the confidence also prevents many women from using the mobile handset and services. So in 2020, if you observe the data, that already we have seen that India had nearly 700 million internet users across the country. This figure was projected to grow over 974 million users by 2025, which indicates a big market potential in internet services for the South Asian country. Despite the large number of internet users in the country, the internet penetration level took longer to catch up equally. So these are the few things that we have to understand. We have seen this kind of challenges. One of the project that you mentioned about Internet Sati, we have seen these challenges. Internet Sati was the project which was supported by Tata and Google, Tata Trust and Google, which was meant to empower women, those who are living in the rural areas. They have to be digitally able and they can use mobile as a tool to earn money as well as to disseminate information. So that was one example, successful example we can see. But that was the purpose, to cater some community, to make them enabled to access as well as to earn livelihood for them. But how can you transfer that one to the last mile at the bottom of the pyramid? So that's a huge costly affairs, because everybody, every NGO or every stakeholders, they cannot afford to donate one mobile phone and literate them with all the tools and everything. So this will gradually go on when the accessibility and the availability of other infrastructures is readily available in that area. Then only people can explore, they can experiment, they can understand the importance and the value of those gadgets. So again, we talk about something, that how this digital gender gap ensures the benefit from the greater connectivity, and this will certainly improve their representation and impact in the mobile and tech industries. This is increasingly important as we face the fourth industrial revolution, with 90% of the future jobs will be requiring digital skills. This is going to be very, very important, 90% digital, because as we see, we are going towards the digitization of everything. Now we are talking about a digital empowerment, but we have to be ready with the artificial intelligence as well. So how the machine learning that can be used in the urban areas as well, because we are still talking about the mobile literacy. We are not talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are the coding things. This is the future of work. So where we are weaker, we are still stuck into that mode. So we have to understand that when we talk about disseminating information through digital tools, Definitely it is very important at this time, but we have to understand the social fabrics. We have to understand our capacity, the priorities, and the complexities at the social level. So this is few examples that I wanted to quote, and with this time limit, that I want to conclude this one with that we are going in the right direction, but definitely we have to have the things in mind, that in a realistic way, that before solving those issues, we cannot claim ourselves that we are really connected and we cannot and we can disseminate information easily on the digital platform.
So firstly, the main challenge was we work into the handicraft sector, which is a decentralized sector. You can see you can say it's a labor intensive and then the cottage based industries. It was not easy initially to mold all these artisans into our form. They were not at all happy. Rather, you can say that they were not able to work with us, but still we managed then to mold them into our form. And how we have overcome these challenges, we have created one database of close to 1200 artisans, where we have all the details of these artisans, like name, their address details, their contact details, and then the artisan card number. Now, what is the artisan card number? You can also say that it is a Pehchan card number. That Pehchan card is given by the Ministry of Textiles Handicrafts Department, which confirms that you are an artisan. It's a smart card, and many of the government facilities you can avail if you have that particular artisan card. Now, the second challenge was that of the funds. Whenever we used to ask our artisan to carry out any particular product or any handicraft, the main constraint was that of the funds. They were working in a traditional system of thekedars. You can also say the money lenders. So whenever we ask them to produce any handicraft, they first used to ask us for money, but we do not know. We were not ready to give them the money. We had already molded the system that, and we have asked them to enroll our artisans to the bank accounts, because most of our artisans, they were not having any bank accounts also initially. And now the case is each and every artisan of ours is having bank accounts, and the remuneration that is getting paid by us for their products they make, that is we only credit those money through bank transactions only. And also we have created the WhatsApp groups, and all our artisans are using these WhatsApp groups. These groups are made of relevant artisans of particular craft. Like we have so many crafts, like Kolhapuri chappals, Kolhapur traditional jewelry. Then we have handmade baskets. Then we have terracotta handicrafts. So we have made the relevant groups. So all the communication is made through groups only. And once the communication is done, they can make the products, and once the products are made, they come to our office. All these products are thoroughly quality checked by our office members, and then they are dispatched. Now, this is the main revolution that we have brought. And finally, I can say that even while working at the ground level, we had faced many challenges, like there was what we can say, the raw material was not available, then the supply chain was broken, the market network was not good, and they were not knowing any kind of resourcing related to the raw materials. So we have developed such a system, or we have developed such a platform where we are giving each and every raw material to our artisan, that is totally procured by us. And once the raw material is given to them, they make the good handicraft products, and all the products come to our office at Kolhapur, and they are thoroughly checked by our team, and then the photo shoot is done, the branding is done, the packaging is done, and then we sell all these handicrafts on all the big portals like Amazon, Flipkart, and then Craftsvilla, Miro, to name a few. And also we are selling these handicrafts globally on Amazon.com, and also on our own online store, that is kalapuri.com. So what we can say, this is a unique hybrid kind of platform where we are giving them the raw material also, and we are getting the products done from them also, and then the selling is done, and they get the good remuneration for their products.
My heartfelt thanks on behalf of VYK Kendra and Department of Social Work, University of Delhi, to all our eminent speakers. We cannot express our feelings, our expressions to all of you for sharing your invaluable thoughts today and sharing your experiences on this particular theme. We are very grateful to have you as our speakers today. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thanks for watching. For more updates, please subscribe to our official YouTube channel and follow us here.